What's up, everybody? It's Henry with Conley Coaster Designs. No, it is not Tuesday again. No, this is not a construction update video. Yes, this is a second video in a week. And yes, I did lose a lot of facial hair. But with some of the things that came out today from Dorney Park, I felt probably a good idea to make another video. This one kind of detailing where things are going to go from here regarding Project 2024. And anybody that didn't see it today, Dorney Park announced that after this weekend, Zephyr will be closed for the remainder of the season. I said it in my video last night. I expected this to happen. I didn't expect it to happen this soon, but I was expecting this to happen. I just did not foresee a way that Dorney Park was going to demolish structures that were very close to the Zephyr track. And I didn't see a way that Dorney Park was also going to not only erect a brand new roller coaster, but the stations, the pathways, and everything else involved with it while that ride was still running. So I expected this to be coming. I did not expect it to come so soon. But with this announcement and with the progression on the construction wall and some other little things that we've been able to garner, we are almost definitively in phase 1 of construction, if not moving very close to phase 2. So I wanted to make this video kind of giving a guideline, a way to understand what's going to be happening at the park leading up to seeing them actually doing some excavations, framing out footers, pouring footers, installing supports, and eventually installing track, what we call vertical construction. So before I dive into that, I have to shout out Cole, who is this wonderful dude. I don't know how old you are, Cole, but you were really cool to meet at the park. He happened to be at the park again tonight and saw some changes and shot over some photos to me. Gave me permission to use them, so kind of tie into yesterday's update on the construction of the new haunt, and an update on the new haunt because I have to correct some things that I said in yesterday's video already. The beauty of speculating on this stuff. You never know when you're going to have to sit there and go, I was wrong. So, we're going to move right into these photos. So, the first photo here is going to be of the blue wall that I was speculating on. And I said, wow, that blue wall is, it's really standing out. I thought that it was a hint or an indicator of maybe where what we might see for a track or support color. It's gone. That wall looks like some patinaed copper, which is beautiful to see. I'm loving the weathering they're doing to this building, and you're going to see it in various photos, the weathering. And as you can see in the foreground of this photo, they have moved one of the boom lifts. This is a manned boom lift. They've moved it further down the haunt structure, closer to the gate on the female side of the bathrooms. If you know roughly where I'm talking, that is now where the boom lift sits. And since we were there on Monday, the steel stack that I was assuming was going to be like a chimney, it has now been assembled into what I was saying was the base for it. At least one of them from the photo. I wasn't there. Again, these photos came from Cole to me, and thank you again for the permission to use them. And as you can also see, the wood that I was saying on the left side of the photo, in my photos from Monday, that was all raw wood. They have now weathered that. I can't definitively say that that has a weathered concrete look to it. I think that's what they're going for. I will probably be able to garner a little better idea when I'm at the park physically. And more weathered copper has been being put in. Pretty much all those window framings and the door framings that were looking very fresh and new, including the keystones on the top of them with the TM, have all been weathered to that weathered copper. And they've started adding in the weathered copper on the other side of the building as well, where the structure was still fairly raw. And here's something that is going to pertain specifically to what I'm going to talk about with what to expect moving forward. If you, and I made this mistake, I'm sure other people have made this mistake that are, know what they're looking for, have an idea what they're looking for. Let me rephrase that with what Phase 1 construction is supposed to be. What you're seeing here is not the Blackhawk filter system. The Blackhawk 2x2 inlet filters look a lot different. What this is this has been there for a while. I'm thinking this is some sort of hanging filter, potentially. There are various styles of hanging filters that sit underneath of drains like that and catch debris as it falls in. You periodically have to go by, lift those out, clean them out, and then drop them back in. I believe that's what we're looking at here, but this is not the Blackhawk 2x2 inlet filters that you are expecting to see in Phase 1 construction. This is what a Blackhawk 2x2 inlet filter looks like. It is a pad that sits on top of the drain. It catches and blocks all sediment and all the runoff before it hits there. So essentially all you have is water running down into the drains and then draining back down into the creek. And again, the boom lift, the 135-foot boom lift has been moved. Based upon looking at those steel stacks that they have assembled now, I suspect that's the reason we have this 135-foot boom on site already. This 135-foot boom is probably going to be used to secure those up on top of the roofs of the haunt building as they begin to assemble the bigger facade or the bigger building itself. Don't get me wrong, I still think this 135-foot boom will be on site while construction of the roller coaster occurs, because we're going to need that type of reach anyway. Well, they are going to need that type of reach. I wish I had 135-foot reach, because with how tall the walls are, it's going to be a nightmare getting you guys updates, but we will keep doing that. And finally, couple photos here. The wall has been expanded. They completed the wall up until where the fence curves in and around the fire hydrant. They've walled that all off, and they've started to wall this off up into the Ritas. And as Cole pointed out to me in another photo, they pretty much have butted it up against the Ritas. So the wall is practically all the way up. Who knows what they're going to do on the fence side, where the entrance roadway is and everything. I don't know if I foresee them putting a wall there. I mean, that's already a tough fence to look through. You aren't going to get the best visuals. So I don't think they're going to need a construction wall there, but they will have this whole wall. And as I said, it's every bit of 8.5 feet tall. But the big detail here, and this is one that when they announced what they did today with the Zephyr, I immediately said to Justin, I'm thinking we're a week to 2 weeks out from track and supports, and I know I've said that, and I know I've been wrong. I think there was some delays in progress moving forward that delayed my initial prediction. Whatever, I was wrong on my initial predictions. Now I'm going to sit here and tell you, we aren't too far off from track and supports being on site. This is the storage area where they launched the fireworks, where they used to have the haunted walkthrough. Best viewed from up on Steel Forces Q. They have both a manned boom lift, JLG boom lift, and they have a telehandler back there. It looks to me, and I suspect, that they are currently moving all of that old haunt props out of that area and prepping this area now to receive track and supports. So, one, either track and supports are already on the way, and I don't have any contacts out in Ohio near Claremont Steel, so unfortunately I have no way to know this. Or two, track and steel will be on their way very soon. So, that's where we're at with kind of the speculation side of things and the haunt updates. Again, 2 days later, we have to have another haunt update. This is, I film my videos and I put them out for the next day. Last night's video was filmed and put out yesterday, so actually, sorry, one day I had to change the whole video. And I just want to state, I believe at this point that my speculation on the color of this track, again, is completely wrong. I do believe still that there's a chance we are going to see some distressed track. I'm just looking at the structure. I'm looking at the theme that's building. I really feel like that distressed look, that dilapidated look, is really a target of the theme right now, which means I suspect that we will see distressed track. There's no way to prove it. And really, how much money does that add to the cost of a roller coaster when it comes to painting versus painting it with a single color or 2 or 3 color paint scheme? I don't know, but I can dream. It would be really cool, and even Justin was saying how cool it would be to have distressed track on this ride. It would be nice. So I'm gonna quit my yammering. Let's talk about what's to come. Okay, and this can all be determined by looking at the plans that were submitted to South Whitehall Township and analyzing them, and then going and looking based on the legend in the construction documents what to look for at the park. So if you're at the park, I'm focusing on areas of the park that you can see from publicly accessible areas. I'm not really going to discuss areas of the park that I wouldn't want you to go into because Dorney Park doesn't want you to go into them. So let's first talk about the construction sequence. So per the construction documents, all earth disturbance activities shall progress in accordance with the following sequence. Each stage shall be completed before any following stage is initiated. Clearing and grubbing shall be limited to only those areas described in each stage. And then it goes on to say 7 days before starting any earth disturbance, they have to, kind of meet all the contractors, everybody involved. And then you have your approximate start date for construction, July 2023. I mean, we're in there. And the ending date, April 24. So we're falling in line with construction. So phase 1 is to install rock construction entrance, concrete washout, and compost filter socks at locations shown on plan. And then it goes on to say that contractor has to clean up, and then also install inlet protection on existing inlets. The next phase is demolish and remove existing features as specified in the plans. Then it also says to add inlets or filters on inlets where impervious cover is being removed. Then phase 3, utility and storm sewer installation, and again, more filters. And then phase 4 will be rough grading, beginning of construction on the new amusement ride and associated structures. Phase 5, construction curbing and concrete walkways, along with installing new pavement. Phase 6, final grade of the site. And then install the erosion control matting where required. Phase 7, install landscaping and fencing. And then phase 8, this will come probably closer to the ride opening. Final stabilization's achieved. They remove all the ENS controls, repair seat, and all that fun stuff. All right, so all of that being said, let's talk about what to look for within the next 2 phases. So, in the next 2 phases, this is going to be off of the entrance road, at one of the large gated areas. There will be this construction entrance installed. It will be a rock and gravel construction entrance. There are very specific details as to how deep it has to be, how wide it has to be. It's going to be a 20-foot wide road at a minimum, and this is where all the construction equipment, all the track, as it's moved from storage back into as it's moved from the storage down into the construction site, this is where it will enter the construction site. This is where your cranes are going to enter. So this is going to be one of the first things we see as you're pulling in the entrance. If you see this, we are already in phase 1. Next, you're going to be looking for the CFS blockages, I guess would be the best way to say it. A CFS is the compost filter sock. It is the tubes of the black wrap tubes with the orange shrink wrap around them that I showed in yesterday's video. These will begin to be laid out. Here are the 3 that I was able to find. I'm sure there's more on the plans. I was kind of looking pretty quickly. But so you're going to be looking at for these CFS tubes to be laid out. There's going to be a few down by the planters that are currently in front of Possessed and in front of Rita's. And then there's going to be one alongside of the Rock Road. Now, I want to be very, very clear about something here. The site plan says that a phase must be finished before next phase begins. That is very hard to speculate on exactly to what level they are saying that must happen, because these planters are in an active part of the park. These planters are going to be very hard for them to block off unless they construction wall that area. But with how the construction walls are laid out, I don't see that happening right now. So whether we see these CFS filters or these CFS socks pop up now or later is really going to be something that we're going to have to just keep an eye out on. But the CFS filter that is prior to this, which is going to be over towards the creek, it's going to be very hard to see, but you might be able to see it if they install it this weekend while you're riding Zephyr as you come around the back end of the haunt. And then this one right here, which is going to be along the construction road, you will be able to see. Next, we are going to move into what you're going to be looking for Blackhawk filters. Again, these are the 2x2 inlet filters. Pretty much any of the pathway filters leading down towards the haunt building, you will be able to see these. If you look over the wall, don't jump over the wall, don't climb over the wall, don't climb on the wall. If you have a selfie stick, look over the wall that way. You will be able to see those filters out in the grass area where Stinger once stood and where this new roller coaster will stand. Moving on down that pathway, you will see even more Blackhawk filters. This is up towards Possessed. You will see more of those Blackhawk filters. When you start seeing these, when you start seeing the CFS being laid out, when you see that gravel entrance road being laid out, you know we're in Phase 1. And if all of these are present, we are probably at the end of Phase 1. Phase 1 should not be a very long process. It's probably a few days to a week at best. Barring rain, barring weather, barring any of that stuff. A few days to a week for Phase 1. Phase 2 is where things are going to get interesting. Because Phase 1 is immediately followed by demolition. Demolition will be a very major part. There is going to be a massive amount of demolition happening on this ride. And this is where understanding what the document says, which, let's bring this document up one more time, that each stage shall be completed before any following stage is initiated. Based upon those words, every filter has to be installed before demolition can be started. Based upon those words, every bit of demolition must be started and finished before the next phase, utility and sewer installation, can begin, which becomes a very questionable thing. Right now, the demolition plans call for that curved pathway leading back towards the bathrooms, towards the new haunt building. They call for a portion of that to be demolished, and reinstallation of pavement and walkways doesn't begin for a few phases after this. So, will this be excluded from that rule? I don't know, but my brain tells me yes. I would think that we would have this part at least excluded from that rule for a bit. But we are going to see other major demolition projects happening. We're going to see, of course, 2 of the pavilions being completely torn down. Per Cole, they are completely empty, save for a couple walls that have not been put up in the construction wall area. Any existing sub-footers or sub-construction of the footers for Stinger that haven't been removed, they will be demolished, dug up, and removed. You're going to see trees removed. You're going to see construction roads removed. You're going to see, or not construction roads, maintenance roads removed. There's going to be a lot happening in this phase. And then moving up towards the Ritas, towards the planners, yet again, there's a lot that's going to be demolished. And we have to question, will Ritas be demolished this early in the season? Will those planters be demolished this early in the season? So far, all signs are pointing to no. So far, all signs are pointing that this part of the project will somehow, some way be excluded from that stipulation in the construction plans. If you or anybody that watches this video knows more about this type of stuff from other construction projects, please leave a comment, let me know. Tell me where I'm wrong, tell me if I'm right, tell me what I'm missing here or misunderstanding from that. But based upon all of these, or based upon that stipulation, it seems to me that there's no way to move forward without finishing demolishing these structures, which means that based on my understanding of these rules, these structures will be demolished soon. Again, that's speculation. That's me understanding roughly what that language is trying to tell us. Again, if you're smarter than me or know more than me, please let me know. I'm always willing to be corrected, and I'm willing to learn stuff here. I'm going to be documenting this for a long enough time. It'd be good to know that type of information. So that's moving forward. What to expect. So that way, if you're at the park and you see some things, or you don't know necessarily what's going to go on, and say between phase 1, 2, and 3 take the next month. Say they take the next month and a half. If you're at the park and you're wondering, well, they made this announcement on August 10th and they haven't done anything with the ride, there's the things to look for. Look for the filters. Look for the CFS tubes. Look for that construction road. Look for the demolition, and look for them moving utilities and moving sewers and drains. As we get towards the end of Phase 3, I will do a video similar to this for Phases 4, 5, and 6. And then, of course, as we get towards the end of Phase 6, 7, and 8, I will do a video like this as well. Other than that, I'm Henry with Conley Coaster Designs. Y'all stay safe out there, and send any photos you catch during this week at Dorney. Send them my way. Find me at Conley Coaster Designs on Twitter, or message the YouTube channel. Have a good night.